I have never seen such a city-popping anime, and yet we don't talk about it. I wonder why. This is California Crisis. Created by the aloof and mysterious Studio Unicorn, disappearing as fast as they appeared. Working with a few productions, cleaning up here, key animation there, these shows speak volumes of the luscious 80s visuals that would go on to define California Crisis. Yet CC pushes into new territory, looking straight out of a Tatsuro Yamashita LP. It could be called Patrick Nagel inspired. Very hip at the time, very hip. Sun-soaked sleek characters pose right out of an Americana catalogue. Pop colours, flat shaded backgrounds, and crazy dances in neon. JoJo wished it looked this good. The hot summer days in which we lived out the years of our youth, with the warm and visceral feelings that came with it. CC feeds into the same nostalgia that a city pop does, reminiscing in a shady bar, going out driving, your thoughts are elsewhere. It's beautiful in its still paintings that burst into life. Sometimes we're thrown into these Jason Bourne skits. This is where CC jumps the shark. Those scenic moments are but window dressing to this OVA's lucid dream. As paper-thin strangers are chased through its plot, we followed them dip out of danger and in over styling music videos. And what music videos they are. If we can say anything about CC, it's that its animation is on. It's pulling no punches. Full motion, accompanied with summer jams. Then it's time to sit down with another nobody and talk about the actual story or something. I don't know. It's like being a fly on a wall, listening to the half conversations of the dullest people. Describing the plot sounds more entertaining than it is. There's Russian spies. They want this crystal ball that a young American girl named Marcia stole, who happens to be traveling with our main protagonist, some bum called Noira. Seems the crystal ball is aliens and the Kremlin need it. Don't really know why. So aimless guy, this little girl, and a cat spend 45 minutes running to Death Valley until an explosive set piece erupts. It morphs itself into this wacky ride before the end. CC's music and animation comes together, bringing you the ultimate climax. Maybe. Would all this stumbling through be worth it to get right here, right now? What happened? Was that like their version of the Stargate thing? Is they supposed to be avant-garde? We know less by the end than we did at the beginning. Well, I guess none of that really matters because, you know, what an age we used to live in, when piles of money can be thrown into bold visuals with a story barely drafted, over before it began, which you can only get by buying $100 VHS copies that you needed to ship internationally for a shoddy 45 minutes, that end without sanity, fishing for a sequel it can never get. You know, those were really the days. You modern kids, you're missing out. You don't know. Alright? Patreon. Hey everyone, if you want to see more videos like this, you can support me on Patreon, that really helps. And if you can't do that, that's cool, but you can always share the video about, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a dislike, whatever. Put it on social media. Whatever you do like that, it really, really benefits my videos and helps them be actually seen by people. Back to City Pop. Animation historian Fred Patton noted his experiences with CC, described in his own article. He'd worked with Hero Media Associates, the company behind it, and they'd asked him to promote many of their works stateside prior. They told him that California, it was originally intended to be the first half of a two-part story. Now, it's been over 33 years now, so part 2 could be coming any day, who knows. But you can see why the ending was so blunt and tonally dissonant. CC didn't light the world on fire when it got released. It never got the attention it needed to continue. It hasn't seen a release since, nor any American distribution at all, which is, I guess, kind of ironic. Nowadays, your best bet of tracking it down are fan restorations on YouTube, like that one. It's mostly forgotten outside of its cult niche, but the music? Not so much. HMV released the whole soundtrack just last year. You can buy the music officially now, but not the actual anime it's from. I mean, I don't know many situations of that actually happening. The music in question, by Miho Fujiwara, is the real deal here, starting with Next Move, the pivotal song that features at the forefront diegetically, intercut with the crew fighting their way out of the seedier side of LA. It's the best part. You've got those deep, rich shadows next to the neon clubs, a noir vibe with a punch of pop, getting a little surreal in its performance as we wrap around these musical idols. Funk is pouring out of every element. The hooks burn bright as Miho pierces through the bass licks, bringing the grooves. It's catchy to a fault as it drives its repeating chorus like a deadly loop. With its lyrics on an interloping relationship, where's it going? Is it hot or it's cold? There's a playful energy here to its sultry tone that permeates through the whole soundtrack. You could definitely say the streets, especially the hot ones, live through these jams. There is somewhat a American authenticness to the synth funk, displaying talents from stateside. People like Donald Franklin Griffin, who was a real deal performer on Eyes, who worked all over American funk and soul throughout the decades. Eyes could be the tightest groove of the bunch when it comes to its instrumentation, next to some of the silliest hooks, although Miho sounds powerful as she bouts through, flowing with the trickling down rhythm of the bass, breaking it down. The guitar kills it on the way out. How very American. Other talents included the team known as Jimmy and Michael, who were both from another band Miho happened to work with, one being the sax player, the other being on keyboards. They performed on Hot Streets, which is certainly one of the funnier tracks. Streets are definitely hot. It's endearing nonetheless, and there's some pretty good breakdowns in there, and I do enjoy that little whisper of the sax in the little distant ending. Yeah, if we're going to credit anyone for most of this, it has to be Hajime Yamamoto and Matthew Kamei. They were the true brain behind the arrangements, from the overload of synth pop seen in Heartbeats that reeks of an 80s style with its electric drums and synth chords, layers of guitar, you name it, the chants of Heartbeat, to the funkier side of the other tracks like Next Move or the danceability all over. The emphasis is on the musicianship, Miho being another instrument with her rising above, tinged in a dash of echo. It's 4 tracks, all killer and no filler, sticky, funky, and it's kicking it in the rear. Or as we say around here, kicking arse. Miho did a couple more anime songs, and she was a vocalist in a band called Chocolate Lips. For more information, you can check Rocket Brown's blog on that one. Was Miho another casualty of the era? Maybe? Maybe not. She released an album at the beginning of this decade and is still active on social media platforms, including live tours and re-releases. Look at that, yeah! Still jamming, they haven't lost a beat. I can dig it. Same with the director and screenwriter. Mizuho Nishikubo. His career only expanded afterwards, as he became the animation director for talented director Mamoru Oshii, working on many of his biggest projects, before getting a whole film to direct back in 2014, Giovanni's Island, which was set in the aftermath of World War II, when Soviet Union soldiers occupied a small island off the top of Japan. That's a pretty bold topic to cover. World War II doesn't necessarily come up in anime too often. Perhaps that would be a subject for another day. In an interview with Nishikubo, he referred to how he lets music breathe throughout his productions, and it plays a big role in his process. CC is a shining example of that. Whatever you can say about California Crisis, it's a hell of a vibe. For the setting being pretty accurate for the California lifestyle, for the most part. But for me, it's best enjoyed in GIF form, with some good jams in the back. Plot isn't necessary. Let's use the stuff in more mixes for future funk or city pop tapes, I don't care, wherever. Also, if you want to always know when my videos are coming out, you got to ring that bell nowadays. I see about 10% of my subscribers actually see these videos most of the time, so if you're missing them, click it. Have a good time, everyone. Catch you later.